All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all higher praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Makrakudas. Give honors to the elders, and honors to the apostles, preaching and teaching us the word of truth and with sincerity as always. And without any further ado, I'm just going to get into this lesson here.
God bless, ladies and gentlemen. General Green here. Beautiful morning. And as predicted, hyperinflation is now becoming inescapable worldwide. I predicted this in 2020 that after they locked down the entire world by design, intentionally, and it was all pre-planned, and COVID was fake and a hoax, and it's actually poison injected into people's bodies because it's software code that's connecting to the beast system, which they're going to merge human beings with microchips in their foreheads and then layer the AI on top of it. This is exactly what's rolling out now, and I've gotten all that right. And I've also stated repeatedly that it would be a hyperinflationary affordability crisis, that the way that you would not be able to own anything is the U.S. government and the criminals in charge worldwide would make sure that you can't afford it. And that's exactly what has happened. Case in point, the CPI index just came out today, and prices are ratcheting higher across the board, unbelievably. In fact, even Donald Trump is changing course, saying, quote, "I love the inflation." Let me tell you what's going to happen next. 50-year scam rigged mortgages are going to send housing prices in the United States to levels that you can't even fathom. The average American will own literally nothing, will own no physical assets, will own zero housing, will have any real world wealth. And that's exactly how these scumbags have designed it. This is exactly what these criminal pricks want. They have raped the American people, and they will continue to rape the American people. You know, at least in Ireland, you get an occasional riot. The people actually resist totalitarianism. They actually resist what's going on in their home countries. Not here in America. Pretty damn weak. In fact, less than 10% actually resisted the 2020 lockdowns, stood their ground because they were fed a hamburger or told that they would lose their ability to travel or their crappy job that doesn't even pay them a worthless wage. That's the honest to gosh truth. So again, what's going to happen next? War, hyperinflation, the attack of Cuba, endless bombing of Iran, continued war in Ukraine, and the New World Order system is rising.
If Israel continued to strike Lebanon, it would strike at Israel. Now that's happened. Israel will presumably strike back. Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, Israel wants the war against Iran to continue. The United States wants it to stop. Iran, on the whole, wants it to stop. Every time there has been something approaching a ceasefire or some kind of partial agreement, Israel has gone out of its way to try to undermine that. And I think that that's what's at play again. In the last few days, the basic discussion has been that Israel needs to stop the bombing of Beirut and more generally the invasion of Lebanon. Trump has said that Israel should do this. He said it in very Trumpian language a few days ago that I can't even repeat, but people have heard. But he called Netanyahu an effing crazy,
profanity laced phone call.
Yes. And that's interesting. We don't know exactly how much is for show. We don't know if every other word that Trump utters anyway is profanity. But this was obviously a pushback against Israel. Yesterday, we had a lead story in the New York Times about Israel spying on the U.S., spying on the Defense Department. This was also clearly a planted story. There's a lot of anti-Israel sentiment or a lot of pressure against Israel in senior reaches of the U.S. government to tell Israel to stop the madness. Couldn't agree more with that sentiment, by the way. But here we are.
Well, on that note, Jeff, I just want to put this to you. This is actually breaking. Trump is furious, as you say. He's told Axios, I'm going to call Netanyahu right now and tell him not to retaliate against Iran. I'm not happy about Israel's attack on Beirut.
Yes, it's pretty clear that, first of all, everyone is fed up with Israel in Australia, in the United States, around the world. The big story about Israel last week was a new worldwide opinion survey carried out by Pew Research, which people can find online. And there's basically not a place in the world that isn't absolutely very unhappy with Israel's behavior. And in Australia, it runs something like 78% disapproval rating. In the United States, it's around 70% disapproval rating. All through Europe, it's generally in the high 70s disapproval rating. In the Arab world and in Turkey, it's in the 90s of disapproval rating. People are really sick of this greater Israel project, which is that Israel's going to occupy and terrorize the Palestinian people and then go to war with anybody that opposes.
Yes, there we go. And this reminds me of that Albert Pike. Well, I'm gonna get this because he mentioned how everyone hates Israel, which that's reminds me of Obadiah 1 verse 2. See, I will make you small among the heathen; you will be utterly despised. He mentioned how everybody hates Israel. And that anyone that gets in their way, they basically destroy. They go to war with. Job 20 and 24. Or actually, that's not the one. Job 9, I think it's 20. Oh yeah, Job 9, and it's actually 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof, if not aware who he is. Yeah, because everyone's finding out that they now more than ever that the Jews, the fake Jews, that is, run the world. They run the world. He just mentioned how anyone who gets in their way, they basically go to war against and destroy, basically. And recently you had a ceasefire. Some people are saying it actually, Iran said it's not in a ceasefire. So I'm gonna look this up again because it's confusing. Yeah, there is a ceasefire. For a 60-day ceasefire. Negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, but Iran's already said that they're not gonna stop their nuclear program. So really, this is just gonna be temporarily, man. The way I see it, and like it mentioned in the last video before, that this one, and the first video I played, That dude right there, he also agreed with that this was gonna be more. There was gonna be more bombing in Pakistan, and he mentioned the economic collapse as well. So I'm gonna play the video again, so just to clarify.
Is now becoming.
And the brother has the scripture, Revelation 6 and 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Yes, and that black horse. There's also a red horse. And that's all those horses, pale horse, black, red horse, represent Esau. And is what his power, what his government's gonna, what he's doing, how he's governing the world, how he's gonna destroy the earth, basically. That's why it says in Revelation 16, the last verse, and destroy them which destroy the earth. Because that's all these elites been doing. Job 9 and 24, once again. I brought that earlier. How the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof, if not aware who he is, because he is a false judge. He's not a real judge. Esau's blessing was the sword. So it doesn't make, and he's a liar. Esau's known for being a liar, and for starting war, causing lots of murder and blood, lots of murder and blood. So it wouldn't make sense for that Esau to have a ceasefire. He's not gonna have a ceasefire, man. He's gonna keep lying to these people. That's why the scriptures also say that believe not every word, or believe not every spirit, try the spirits. Or believe not this rumor. This rumor shall come in 1 year, and then another rumor somewhere else in Isaiah as well. It talks about that. Jeremiah 51 and 45. Escape from Babylon, my people. Run away to save your lives. The Lord is very angry with that place, so run away from there. Yeah, Lord's angry with this place, man. He's not gonna. It also says the Lord shall not delay his coming. So the ceasefire ain't even it's not permanent, man. It's not permanent. These Americans, these simple Americans, some simple Americans stuck on the right and left paradigm, left and right paradigm is still gonna in the strong illusion. He might believe it, but us the prophets, we know, we see through the lines, man. And then on the left side, these wicked elites that they know they want exactly what we want, but on the left hand. As I've heard a brother say before, they want what these elites want, what we want, but it's just on the left side hand, man. Jeremiah 51:46. You must be brave when you hear news in Babylon of what is happening. Do not be afraid. People will report one thing this year, and next year they will report a different thing. They will speak about violence in the land and about rulers who are fighting against each other. Yeah, the Democratic and the Republican, all that left-right paradigm illusion Esau gave to you Americans to think is, and that's in Revelation 2, the horns, yeah, and where it mentions 2 horns, the lamb who had 2 horns, speaking smooth things. That's what that's going into, man. But and that fits right with his words were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Verse Iraq 12 and 10 says, never trust thy enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Yeah, you can't trust any Edomite. You can't trust the 2/3. You can't trust the 2/3. You can't trust Edomite. You gotta trust the spirit. Ultimately, you gotta trust God, whose name is Yahweh as well. I don't even like saying the word God because he put it backwards. It means it spells dog. But yeah, man. They will speak about violence in the land or about rulers who are fighting against each other. So the time will come when I will punish Babylon's idols. The whole country will become ashamed. Its people will die, and their dead bodies will lie everywhere. Yeah, this third war that's gonna come. It says the third war coming quickly. So I wouldn't really put trust in this ceasefire, man. I really don't think that ceasefire is gonna last too long. It may just the war may just Iran might just break the deal, or U.S. might just decide to break the deal before 60 days, man. Supposedly, once again, it's a 60-day ceasefire, but I wouldn't put. That's why the scriptures say, don't put your trust in this place, man. Watch these Americans get surprised when that war starts again.
Predicted hyperinflation is now becoming inescapable worldwide. I predicted this in 2020 that after they locked down the entire world by design, intentionally, and it was all pre-planned, and COVID was fake and a hoax, and it's actually poison injected into people's bodies because it's software code that's connecting to the beast system, which they're going to merge human beings with microchips in their foreheads and then layer the AI on top of it.
Yeah, and that's a big. He just mentioned him talking about the MOTV, and that's big news because I saw his brother post this yesterday as well. Hold on. And sometimes the brother here also posts a lot of news on that, articles and stuff like that on here.
Major tech companies propose putting microchips inside of prisoners. Here it is. So a digital rights group called Foxglove has just obtained. Major tech companies propose putting microchips inside of prisoners. Here it is. So a digital rights group called Foxglove has just obtained meeting minutes from a UK government roundtable where Google, Microsoft, Amazon, IBM, and Palantir were all proposing, surgically implant chips, like microchips, inside prison.
Breaking news, man.
Yeah, this video that a brother posted here about prisoners to be microchipped, and that goes into Revelation 13. I think it's 9 to 10. There. 15 to 18. Yeah, 15 to 18. Which reminds me of 2 Thessalonians 2. And then before that, I think just a while back, not too long. Not too long ago, you had this other guy, Cyborg Tyrone, who came out with a microchip in his head. He had the Neuralink in his head. So it's a 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Yeah. So it's actually spiritual, and it makes sense why the war in Iran right now is as a kind of dwindled. because at the same time you're having this market of beast technology being pushed even more, and the market of beast is because it makes connects, because the market of beast will, those two things connect with each other, because we know the MOTB is going to come out before this third war actually goes nuclear, basically. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 11. And for this cause, God shall send them a strong illusion that they should believe a lie. People are going to believe a lie. That's why it says in the second Esdras, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Yeah. So right now, a lot of people still think that you can go outside right now and ask the average, the first neighbor or person you see walking. You can ask them if they think this war of Iran would lead to the War III. A lot of people still won't say it. They still won't really believe it. So that's why this is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all deceivable, the mark of the beast, the Neuralink. They've already showed us that. They've already coming out with it. Once again, you had that dude with the Neuralink come out and dude performed and showed a lot of various miracles, as it says here. And a power and signs and lying wonders after the working of Satan. Come on. And you also had that one guy, I think, William Cooper. He said something that was interesting. And he basically said that either these elites made the Bible and scripted the Bible and are doing everything exactly as it is saying to make people believe their own doctrine, or there really is, or either that, or there really is a God, and he has them under his control, man. He's controlling these devils. And the second, and that was a profound statement, because it's pretty amazing how the book said, the Lord said there's going to be a chip, a mark that you're going to have to take to buy and sell. Either that or, yeah. Basically, he said that in the scriptures. It's written in the scriptures. And they have a literal mark you're going to have to take soon to buy and sell. So yeah, let's just go into the mark of the beast. A lot of news on that is coming out about the mark of the beast.
System, which they're going to merge human beings with microchips in their foreheads and then layer the AI on top of it. This is exactly what's rolling out now, and I've gotten all that right. And I've also stated repeatedly that it would be a hyperinflationary affordability crisis. That the way that you would not be able to own anything as the U.S. government and the criminals in charge worldwide would make sure that you can't afford it. And that's exactly what has happened. Case in point, the CPI index just came out today, and prices are ratcheting higher across the board, unbelievably. In fact, even Donald Trump is changing course, saying, quote, "I love the inflation." Let me tell you what's going to happen next. 50-year scam rigged mortgages are going to send housing prices in the United States to levels that you can't even fathom. The average American will own literally nothing, will own no physical assets, will own zero housing, will have any real world wealth. And that's exactly how these scumbags have designed it. This is exactly what these criminal pricks want. They have raped the American people, and they will continue to rape the American people. You know, at least in Ireland, you get an occasional riot. The people actually resist totalitarianism. They actually resist what's going on in their home countries. Not here in America. Pretty damn weak. In fact, less than 10% actually resisted the 2020 lockdowns, stood their ground because they were fed a hamburger or told that they would lose their ability to travel or their crappy job that doesn't even pay them a worthless wage. That's the honest to gosh truth. So again, what's going to happen next? War, hyperinflation, the attack of Cuba, endless bombing of Iran, continued war in Ukraine, and the New World Order system is rising.
Yeah, the New World Order system is rising. There's going to be more war. Because all you've had is war. This is Revelation 6 and verse 1. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, come one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow. This is Yahushua coming back and returning. And the crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And as the scriptures say, the Lord won't delay his coming. So people thinking that this ceasefire is gonna work, that got more hope for Trump to restore the way things are. People thinking like that, they're not in the spirit. They don't have the spirit of the Lord dealing with them. They definitely don't have the spirit of the Lord dealing with them if they believe that. How are you gonna believe a serpent? And that's how Esau speaks, man, like a serpent, man. So anyway, this is Revelation 6 and 3. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. There was given to Esau a great sword. This is all the way back in Genesis 27, verse 'I don't even know. I'm gonna find it here. Isaiah Genesis 27, verse 40. And by the sword shalt thou live. This was the blessing Isaac he gave Esau. Esau, once again, means he's wasted away. Because when he came out with red. Basically, he had no melanin. He came out leprous. A clean leopard. Which goes back to the mark of Cain. When Cain killed his brother Abel. So this is all Esau, man. Esau is just the omen omen. Omen omen means a name sign. Esau is just a walking, talking sign. Omen omen of who is our enemy. And when you read on down, it even tells you here. In verse 40, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And then Jacob flees away. His mom Rebecca warns him to flee away. Which reminds me of when Yahushua was a baby, basically, and Joseph and Mary had to flee. They fled to Egypt. And it reminds me of Revelation 12, where the dragon goes to war with the woman. And it also is intertwined as well with 2 Ezra 6 and 9, where it says the hand of Esau, where it mentions Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Maybe I'll pull it up, or you can pull it up as well yourself to write that down, note that down, jot that down, write that down. If you want to. This is Revelation 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. And when this dragon is Esau, represents Esau, saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. Going into when Yahushua was birthed. But it's also metaphorically representing what Esau is going to do to us, man. What he's planning to do to the elect. You can't trust this devil. You can't trust this devil like you tribes are trusting in this devil for. As they're bringing it out, the prophets are sent out. Soon this word is going to be shut down. You had a rumor of blackouts coming. Earlier, late last month, of blackouts possibly coming. Of some blackouts coming. By July or by the end of July, 4th of July. We'll see how that goes. And that dragon also goes back to the serpent and and Eve. Genesis, the 4th chapter, I think. Thou shalt bruise his head. He shall bruise that. Thou shalt bruise thy head. He shall bruise the heel. Nope. Genesis 3 and verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. It says, I will put enmity between thee and the woman. The woman represented there, once again, Israel. Because, once again, when you go back to Revelation 12, it talks about the dragon persecuted the woman. The woman represents Israel. The man-child represented Yahushua. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. It says, the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And it also is intertwined with Daniel 7, which talks about how the dragon, the beast, shall make war with the saints. So yeah, man, this is that we just brought out, and we just brought out Genesis 27 and Revelation 6, how he was given a great sword. Esau was given a great sword, and it either means red. What is blood? Is the color of red. Red is the color of blood, violence. So, either get right or whatever, man. Because the shit is coming down.
Now, this
This is Revelation 6 and 15. And the kings of earth, and the great man, and the rich man, and the chief captains, and the mighty man, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the hot dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb.
Now, this don't make sense to me. Maybe somebody can explain it. But why are so many billionaires building bunkers? And before somebody say it's because they got the money, that's not what I'm asking. Rich people don't stay rich by randomly spending millions of dollars on bunkers and supplies. Everything they do is based on risk. Everything. So when I hear about billionaires buying remote properties, building compounds, installing private security, stockpiling supplies, my first thought ain't to panic. My first thought is, what are they worried about? Because let's be honest, if me and you build a bunker, everybody gonna think we lost our mind. But when these billionaires do it, it becomes a news article, and everybody moves on. Nobody asks questions, no curiosity, nothing. I'm flat out saying that they know something that we don't. Because people with access to experts, economics, intelligent briefings, and information tend to think differently than the average person. So when a bunch of them start making the same move, I pay attention. Not because I'm scared, but because I'm curious.
Now check this other clip out. The title is From the Hopeful Elect 3, Send Them Nukes.
New York Democrats argue the words mother and father are outdated and need to be replaced with more inclusive terms under state law. All that's needed now is Governor Kathy Hochul's signature. So if Hochul approves, in New York's family court and in domestic and education law, a mother would be labeled as a gestating parent, a father as a non-gestating parent, and paternity proceedings to determine the child's father would be called parentage proceedings. The bill passed the state Senate this week and the state assembly back in March. Governor Hochul proudly calls herself New York's first mom governor. It's unclear if she'll support this change, though.
I'm not familiar with what was introduced late last night, so I'll take a look at it. I have until the end of the year to review them and make a decision, so I won't be commenting on pending legislation.
New York would join other states like Massachusetts, California, Connecticut, and Colorado to change the definition and wording of parents in their state laws. Democrats argue the bill is necessary to accommodate surrogacy cases and same-sex couples. Now, Governor Hochul's up for re-election this year. Her main challenger, Republican Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, tells Fox this morning this bill is a continuation of war declared on families by Democrats.
So there you go, and that yeah, just more confusion, which Babylon means confusion once again. And that's why this place has to be destroyed. Because the scriptures say how the Lord is not an author of confusion, but of order and of a sound mind. So in America, Babylon, you notice a lot of drugs and homosexuality. That's not a sound mind. That's all demons and spirits. And alcohol. Alcohol is also called spirits, because it's all from the alcohol, that wine of Babylon, the witchcraft, sorcery, rebellions as sin as witchcraft, stubbornness is as idolatry, because people don't change from their ways, nor do they even think of trying to change from their ways. And that's just what their lot is as well. The Lord made this earth to be this way. And so he's going to destroy it as well. He's in control. He's destroying it. He controls the right hand and the left hand. He's controlling what the right hand devils are doing, and all the other regular, and their version of the 1/3 on the left side, which consists of wicked as Israelites and the wicked as heathens. And then he controls the right hand government on the elect 144,000 governors, head body on the right hand, and the right hand 1/3, which consists of regular Israelites. Or if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. Though, don't get confused. Basically, they control. They have their regular people that follows them, and then they're in control. They represent the wicked. And then you always had kings, either that did righteous, and then the regular people that lived righteously. The Lord controls both of them, basically. And I'm going to pull this up as well. I might as well pull this up here in Romans. I think it's Romans 1. It's Romans 1 in verse. I'll start at 18. Or 17. For therein is the righteousness of the power revealed from faith to faith. Yeah, you gotta have faith. There's no other way you're gonna be able to make it without faith. Hence why I quoted it earlier, but I'll pull it up in a second. They're just 15. It talks about faith. Let not the unfaithful hurt you, basically, make you doubt. It's 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 3. I'll start at 2. Or actually 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Prophecy means to speak before it happens, which I will put in thy mouth, says the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Yeah, and that's once again about that in 2 Thessalonians, how basically that they might perish whom believed a lie, something like that. Let's get it. I got it here again. Verse 10, and with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish. Because these people are deceitful. They're just like how the rulers of the city is, so is going to be the people. Yeah, these people are wicked. If you don't have the truth, they are essentially wicked. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth that they might be saved. And for this cause God, the power, shall send them a strong illusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Yeah, so the Lord has them set up to not believe. The Lord has a section set up to not believe and another smaller portion to believe. And that's going to be the test. That's the test for the elect. Because if you have this many people that don't believe, but then you believe, it kind of makes it harder for you to believe. You're going to believe anyway if you're the elect, though. So, but that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Yeah. And then also because they had just had pleasure in pleasure. The elect is gonna be moving out here with a rigorous mindset, fortitude, obstacles, challenges, things like that. Temptations, fire on one hand, water on the other hand. But scriptures also say these wicked ass people who only lived off the benefits, they're gonna be going through the narrow ways as well. They shall also go to see the narrow. So really, man, there's no way around the Lord, man. He's gonna judge everything, man. The Lord is the one in control. He's the one in power. He sees everything. 2 Esdras 15, and going back to that faith, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Exactly. Because when you don't have faith, you move and walk in whatever carnal means to get whatever means you have. Behold, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. That's what we're speaking on. We spoke a bit on the famine. The guy mentioned how there's going to be a hyperinflation earlier in that clip. Death, a lot of death is coming. Esau is a great sword, and the sword once again, it's famine, death, famine, sword, and the death are all intertwined with one another. You're gonna die by one. Ultimately, anyone who's not of the elect is gonna end up dying. Spoke on the white horse because Yahushua is returning as well. All right. So watch this clip.
Did you hear what just happened in the Middle East? Iran just launched missiles toward Israel for the first time in months, and now Iranian officials are reportedly threatening more attacks over the next several days. Now you might be saying, well, what's new? Every single time Israel and Iran start exchanging blows with one another, the possibility of a much larger regional war goes up. And we're not talking about Israel and Iran here. You're talking about Hezbollah, Lebanon, U.S. military assets in the region, global oil markets like we've seen, and potentially America getting pulled deeper into this conflict. Now, according to reports, Israel did intercept the missiles, so thankfully the immediate damage appears to be limited. But the bigger question is whether this ends here or this whole thing starts another escalation cycle, because history has shown that one strike turns into retaliation, retaliation turns into another strike, and before you know it, everybody's asking.
And that was a while back. I was on the 8th. Now it's a ceasefire, but basically this is what it's gonna go back to, what he just described. It's gonna come back to that. It's gonna come back to that, just off prophecy, based off prophecy, and based on what these elites want to bring. That's why it says by faith, like, once again, man, because you can think that things is gonna go back to normal once something dies down, once some big major event dies down, like this Iran or U.S. shindig or whatever, man. Whatever other shindigs you have, man. Ultimately, bro, the Ukraine-Russia war is still on. Next, the Taiwan-China war is going to happen.
We just want to talk about what has happened in the last few hours. Iran had made it clear that if Israel continued to strike Lebanon, it would strike at Israel. Now that's happened. Israel will presumably strike back. Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, Israel wants the war against Iran to continue. The United States wants it to stop. Iran, on the whole, wants it to stop.
Once again, he just said that. I'll play that back again. He said Israel doesn't want the war to stop.
Wants the war against Iran to continue.
Lebanon, it would strike at Israel. Now that's happened. Israel will presumably strike back. Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, Israel wants the war against Iran to continue. The United States wants it to stop. Iran, on the whole, wants it to stop. Every time there has been something approaching a ceasefire or some kind of partial agreement, Israel has gone out of its way to try to undermine that. And I think that that's what's at play again. In the last few days, the basic discussion has been that Israel needs to stop the bombing of Beirut and more generally the invasion of Lebanon. Trump has said that Israel should do this. He said it in very Trumpian language a few days ago that I can't even repeat, but people have heard. But he called Netanyahu an effing crazy,
profanity-laced phone call.
Yes. And that's interesting. We don't know exactly how much is for show. We don't know if every other word that Trump utters anyway is profanity. But this was obviously a pushback against Israel. Yesterday, we had a lead story in the New York Times about Israel spying on the U.S., spying on the Defense Department. This was also clearly a planted story. There's a lot of anti-Israel sentiment or a lot of pressure against Israel in senior reaches of the U.S. government to tell Israel to stop the madness. I couldn't agree more with that sentiment, by the way.
He keeps mentioning how Israel doesn't want the war to stop. They keep telling Israel to stop. And this fits right in line with Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini. But I'm going to get this Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past. That was the Second World War. And behold, the third woe coming quickly. Ultimately, they're just following the script of the Lord. Following the Lord's blueprint, his script. He wrote in the scriptures, Revelations, Mark of the Beast, the third war. Lord's bringing all these things to pass. He is.
But here we are.
Well, on that note, Jeff, I just want to put this to you. This is actually breaking. Trump is furious, as you say. He's told Axios, I'm going to call Netanyahu right now and tell him not to retaliate against Iran. I'm not happy about Israel's attack on Beirut.
Yes, it's pretty clear that, first of all, everyone is fed up with Israel in Australia, in the United States, around the world. The big story about Israel last week was a new worldwide opinion survey carried out by Pew Research, which people can find online. And there's basically not a place in the world that isn't absolutely very unhappy with Israel's behavior. And in Australia, it runs something like 78% disapproval rating. In the United States, it's around 70% disapproval rating. All through Europe, it's generally in the high 70s disapproval rating. In the Arab world and in Turkey, it's in the 90s of disapproval rating. People are really sick of this greater Israel project, which is that Israel's going to occupy and terrorize the Palestinian people and then go to war with anybody that opposes that. People are not convinced this is about Israel's security. They think it's about Israel's blatant grab
Jeff,
for power.
let's put this back on Trump now, because all the onus is on him now. This is Triti Parsi, who's been a past guest on this program.
Yes.
I suspect you know Triti.
I know him well.
Trita says this, quote, if Trump doesn't enter the war, he will be accused of abandoning Israel. If he enters the war, he will validate that Israel has an effective veto on the negotiations and on whether the US is at war or not. Jeff?
Well, yes, it's clear to me that politically Trump should, at this point, tell Israel stop and not enter the war on behalf of Israel, because, as I was just saying, and the point that I was making is, the public is absolutely against all of this. The public in the United States is against the war in Iran. It does not believe that this was for U.S. national security or the U.S. national interest. It believes it was for Israel. It does not believe it was a legitimate war, a war that was properly motivated, or a war that in any way has been successful. Trump, of course, has a strong pro-Israel lobby in the United States. It's a lot of his base, in fact, especially the so-called Christian Zionists in the United States, who are the Protestant evangelicals whose mega churches preach a pro-Israel ideology.
So there you go on that. Some information on that. Jeremiah 15:45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he hath taken against Babylon, and his proposes that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Yeah, and that cuts that whole, once again, it cuts the whole peace deal, supposedly peace deal. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. As the least of the flock is going into little Israel there. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them.
Did you hear what just happened in the Middle East? Iran just launched missiles toward Israel for the first time in months, and now Iranian officials are reportedly threatening more attacks over the next several days. Now you might be saying, well, what's new? Every single time Israel and Iran start exchanging blows with one another, the possibility of a much larger regional war goes up. And we're not talking about Israel and Iran here. You're talking about Hezbollah, Lebanon, U.S. military assets in the region, global oil markets like we've seen, and potentially America getting pulled deeper into this conflict. Now, according to reports, Israel did intercept the missiles, so thankfully the immediate damage appears to be limited. But the bigger question is whether this ends here or this whole thing starts another escalation cycle, because history has shown that one strike turns into retaliation, retaliation turns into another strike, and before you know it, everybody's asking how we got here and what's going to happen next. So the next few days are going to be very important. Do you think this thing is going to escalate, or do you think it's going to calm down?
I used to have this crazy dream where, like, it looked like zombies, but it wasn't. What happened in my dream, the truck stopped. All the 18-wheelers stopped. So there was no food at the grocery stores. There was no gas at the gas pumps. Everybody's lights are out, and it's madness. And in my dream, one of my neighbors starts cooking up a little piece of meat on a barbecue pit. And fucking, it looked like a horde of zombies. But it was just hungry fucking people. And when they got there, they ate him. Because they're that hungry, you know what I mean? And
That's a good idea.
It's a crazy dream. I used to have it all the time, and yeah, that'd be a good end to the movie.
And then put it in.
It just all starts with the truck stopping. Once the 18-wheelers stop, the world stops for sure.
Yeah.
So the dude just shared his dream there, basically on basically he saw a dream of a famine, basically. And Ezra saw a similar dream here and the vision here in the 2nd Ezra 15 verse. I'm gonna just find it here. 13, actually 12. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the powers shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the road and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into the city, and shall not be able, for because of their prides the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. The lack of bread. You mentioned how he saw zombies coming out to eat him. To eat his neighbor. 12, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. It says, Egypt shall mourn, the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the power shall bring upon it. So basically, he had a dream of prophecy, Joel 2:28.
Wasn't what happened in my dream. The truck stopped. All the 18-wheelers stopped. So there was no food at the grocery stores. There was no gas at the gas pumps. Everybody's lights are out, and it's madness. And
And spirit, because they supposedly they say a blackout is supposed to happen this year by the end of July 4th, after the July 4th weekend or week.
in my dream, one of my neighbors starts cooking up a little piece of meat on a barbecue pit, and fucking, it looked like a horde of zombies, but it was just hungry fucking people. And when they got there, they ate him because they're that hungry.
I was just sitting here on my bed, and literally the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and he said that there's getting ready to be more riots and more chaos in the streets when it comes to race. They're going to start pushing this race war, black people versus white people versus Hispanic people versus Asian people. There's going to be a major race war that's going to cause more riots and more violent protests. There's going to be more incidences that are getting ready to take place in America where it's going to be racially motivated. The news is going to make it racially motivated, and they're going to start putting out false news and advertisements about black versus white, Hispanic. So I just heard the Holy Spirit say, pray strong against this. We don't need no more riots. We don't need no more looting. We don't need no more violence in the streets in America. That's already.
Yeah, and he's wrong on that part right there. I'm biased in America. First off, Jake, America is not your country, man. It's not your country, and at this point, America's already to get destroyed. This Jake still has that pride and mind state of praying for America and saving America. Well, America's the Esau's house, and he's like a fielding nigga that wants to save the house. The master's wife gets death. He gets death. The master's house gets on fire. He's on fire. Like Malcolm X said, man. And so house niggas want to save the master, man. He's trying to save the master. As they say, the massa, man. But this ain't your rest. Micah 2:10. It says in Micah 2:10 that this ain't your rest. Get up, go away, for this is not your resting place, because it is defiled, it is ruined beyond all remedy. It is ruined beyond all remedy, it says right there. You gotta highlight that. It is ruined beyond all remedy, and it is ruined. It's getting more ruined. It's gonna be even more later on ruined. And it is ruined. It's getting more destroyed. But he was right on the earlier thing he said there. He said that his spirit did tell him that more race riots are coming.
I was just sitting here on my bed, and literally.
Before I get that, I'm gonna actually get, because that's also in the scriptures here. 2 Kings 13:31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Yeah, I do believe there will be race riots, race wars. But you're also gonna have all kinds of fights too. You're gonna have the rich fighting the poor fighting the rich. When it says one people against another, that's also referring to all kinds of people groups. This group that's homosexuals against straight people. But yeah, primarily, man, I do see Edomites fighting against blacks too, because Esau can start it off too. You have a lot of KKK groups that's getting ready for to round niggas up as well, and that's possible, man, because it's prophesied here. I forgot what video that was, man, but I saw somebody post that video.
I was just sitting here on my bed, and literally the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and he said that there's getting ready to be more riots and more chaos in the streets when it comes to race. They're going to start pushing this race war, black people versus white people versus Hispanic people versus Asian people. There's going to be a major race war that's going to cause more riots and more violent protests. There's going to be more incidences that are getting ready to take place in America where it's going to be racially motivated. The news is going to make it racially motivated, and they're going to start putting out false news and advertisements about black versus white, Hispanic. So I just heard the Holy Spirit say, pray strong against this. We don't need no more riots. We don't need no more looting. We don't need no more violence in the streets in America. There's already so much going on in this world as it is now. But I just seen there's getting ready to be more violent riots and looting and protests in the near future. Acts chapter 10, the Bible said.
Okay. And
and they identify as a neighbor pulled up.
yeah, just going into the race riots. You recently had this as well. And this is out before shit is all bad. And remember, you still have the KKK, which is a group that you never really heard of them, really, man. But I definitely believe in prophecy, and the Lord is going to bring in this race war however he brings it. He recently had this guy Edomite here who shot at Jake. Just listen to it here. So this was before. Imagine after, when the war actually breaks, when the law isn't around.
So when he's talking junk and he started yelling the N-word.
Kinzer fired several shots. Then several people at the gathering reportedly fired back. One person was injured in the gunfire. Deputies say they searched Kinzer's home and reportedly found an AR-style rifle and body armor. Kinzer is charged with aggravated assault. The Lee County Sheriff's Office says there may be more victims that haven't yet been identified.
And then that's when everybody started running. He got a gun.
His family says they were celebrating a birthday and spending time together before a man they identify as a neighbor pulled up and opened fire with an AR-style rifle. Witnesses say the family was gathered outside for a reunion Sunday night when a car drove by. A white man who witnesses say was Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer was inside the car yelling racial slurs at the group.
So, and he's talking junk, and he started yelling the N-word. He kept going, so we let him go. And we were just discussing what just happened, why he tripping.
But Green says Kinzer came back, this time wearing armor and carrying a rifle.
And then that's when everybody started running. He got a gun. All the kids, they were making sure the kids get in the house. And people started taking positions because they seen he had a gun. And I was in the middle of the street. That's when he raised it and fired. Boom. And I grabbed my gun and started returning fire and moving with him.
Green says he's a Marine veteran. He says he was willing to defend his family, including children and older adults who were present.
So I can see you can clearly see how much more of this can happen if the laws were in place. He could have just been an MK Ultra victim. I don't know, but either way, if it's right along with one people fighting against another. However the Lord works it out, however he does it, I definitely believe it's coming though. Because if you're gonna be having now, I can see people ultimately fighting against the government, but even with that, when that happens, there will be race wars too. Negroes, niggas fighting against these crackers, Edomites. Niggas fighting against Edomites and all of this shit. Once the economy is off once again and war pops off because it says once again in Iraq. Iraq 12-10. Never trust an enemy, his wickedness is as destructive as rust. I'll get that in the KJV, it's better. Never trust an enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, though he humble himself. Yeah, because you don't know what kind of Edomites you might have out here who don't like niggas at all. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Yeah, and don't think for 1 second, Jake, that you're safe or good, because you can have Edomites or KKK, also factions, however you say it, groups, sects out here too that's training and waiting for the day when the lawlessness comes to just go and around and start killing you Negroes, man. That can happen too. I can see that very, very well being something as well that's going on behind the scenes. Just like they showed you in the movie The Purge, when they were going to grab people up to send them to these elite rituals. They show you that in the movie Purge Anarchy. And then in the first Purge, they showed you the black dude that ran to the house because he was getting chased by some Edomites too, man. So yeah, definitely, man. You're gonna have one people fighting against another people. Definitely. Ultimately, they're all gonna be fighting against all these. Most people are there, though. They're gonna come together to fight against the government too, when once the economy is shut off and shut down, and then that's even more. That's where really even more people are gonna be getting plowed in body bags. But yeah, there's gonna be race wars. I'm just saying, most people are though, they're gonna be coming together to fight against to protest and cause burn. There's Capitol buildings down against the government, basically. But yeah, man, this guy, I'll play a bit more of it. But this guy did this. Once again, never trust thine enemy. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or such as come nigh wild beasts? Conan, you got jakes that want to try to pity the serpent. Want to try to charm the serpent up. You can't charm Esau with your charm. 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Yeah, and they showed you in the movie The Purge, once again, certain people coming to kill their boss or whatever person, their neighbor. This one Jake wanted to rape and have his way with this sexually with this older woman and her daughter. Many things, man, many things. And then this other, they did a good job in showing you in that movie. That's why you should check the movie out too, to just see, give you an idea as well of how how the spirit's gonna be like, how the atmosphere is gonna be like out here in the real world when this shit fucking happens, man. It gives you a good idea of how the atmosphere is gonna be like in the world, in real life, when the real purge comes to life, man. That's why you should go watch the movie. They did a good job. The directors did a good job at showing you this group of people, bug outs, weirdos, crazy people, bugging out against this people, crazy weirdos, bug outs, crazy people out here.
And older adults who were present.
It was so hurtful. I cried all night. I'm laying outside on the ground through a shootout under a car with my other auntie, my other sister, who is 77, and I'm 62.
The investigation is ongoing. Officials say more charges are expected to come. This family says they are just grateful to be alive.
And then that's when everybody started running. He got a gun. He got
This
a gun.
family says they were celebrating.
Start returning fire.
There were people till go back around, and they've been identified.
All right, I got this last clip I'm gonna play here. Yeah, this is the last. 20-foot bridge.
Look, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I've been on TikTok watching, and they talking about civil war. Look, there will not be no civil war in America. The army is too diverse. You got all nationalities in the army, right? It ain't gonna be no civil war. Y'all can stop thinking about that crap, or even stop speaking about it. All these racist white dudes that's saying they're gonna be a civil war out here, it will not be. I don't care who is president. There will not be a civil war.
And he reminds me of that one nigga that was in the movie. I think it was the second one. Yeah, Purge Anarchy. Who was like, oh, I forgot, man, but yeah, man, that dude doesn't know the privacy. He doesn't know the prophecy, basically. That dude doesn't know the prophecy, man. Yeah, he reminded me of this guy here, in the movie The Purge Anarchy, the fat black dude, old black dude, whose name was Papa Rico. Knowing his family was struggling financially and battling his own decline in health, he secretly volunteered to become a purge victim for a wealthy family in exchange for $100,000 to secure a better life for his daughter and granddaughter. It says he allowed the wealthy family to kill him in his own living room. Before it happens, he leaves a recording explaining his choice to his family, telling them to take the money, survive the nights, and build a safe life. Yeah, he basically was talking shit about the other Jake that was fighting against the Purge. That's what he reminded me of. Basically saying there won't be a civil war. But with that, man, that's really the point of the lesson. Shalom and a ball.